I was on the Gaming Circle podcast. I was listening for a few minutes this morning. Shout out to Keasante and Everborn. And I saw a comment from one of their viewers. And I have to say, this is a viewer that's also been on my channel that, for some strange reason, I'll get like a comment or a question or whatever about Xbox's ecosystem. They are not so keen on me pointing out Xbox's business. They usually say, "Oh, you're all constantly saying Xbox is good, PlayStation bad." Bro, PlayStation sucks. Everybody is getting good stuff, eating good, getting consumer protections, and all this stuff. PlayStation is over there locking you all into an ecosystem to farm you and revise price increases on the subscription. And I have a PlayStation, so from a customer perspective, when I run a comparison between PlayStation, Xbox, and Steam, I see PlayStation as number 3 and Nintendo as basically dead to me. That's a Nintendo stab for those of you who weren't paying attention. Now, the comment you left here, you said, in my opinion, Microsoft is not trying to grow their market anymore. They're just going to squeeze all the money they can from their 10 to 30 million diehard Xbox fans with any console or OEM product they release from now on. Now, Everborn was very gracious to give you a very, detailed response. He talked about how, he thinks that, yeah, they're probably not interested in growing that hardware market piece and all that, but they are growing with software. And Everborn is nicer than me. I'm a hardliner because I'm of the mind that what's happening here is Microsoft makes business decisions that PlayStation users either are not aware of what it is that they've done, or they purposefully bury their heads in the sand. In this case, though, FaceBKNY, I will give you the benefit of the doubt and just say that you're probably not aware that Microsoft has already expanded its market and you just didn't catch it. And I'm going to show you how you actually didn't catch it. Do you want to see it? You play on PlayStation, so you're actually within a locked ecosystem. It's difficult to see what is, passed in front of you unless you change your position. And in some cases, you may have to broaden your perspective and you don't necessarily have to physically change your position. You can inform yourself or you can delve into an area where you're probably, in a sense, not necessarily accustomed to what's going on. In my case, my learning experience has been to delve into the Xbox ecosystem. That's why when I was in Proto Rock's podcast, you were in the comment section as well, remember? And I told Proto Rock, I said Xbox was making more money from its consoles than it was making anywhere else. And he was very surprised when I said that. Do you know why? Because many PlayStation users are not aware of Xbox's business. Now, let me get you back to speed. Xbox expanded its business by simply coming to dial back down on a PC platform that it had already established a small minimal aspect on and is now broadening it. Notice how this Xbox app that you're seeing in front of me is no longer just going to be on regular on regular PC devices, but is now pretty much going to be in a form factor on handhelds that are out there, pretty much trying to equate itself to the likes of Steam and Epic Games and such to appeal to another market that's out there that's not going to buy the console. You on PlayStation is also trying to some extent do the same thing, but in their own case, they're only doing it with the video games and the sequels. Even though they tell you that they're trying to see if you would come and buy these sequels, they're still launching sequels on PC. So PlayStation has expanded their market as well outside of the traditional locked box ecosystem. But as you claimed that the Xbox gamers who are the hardcore will continue to be there, so will the PlayStation gamers be there. However, you miss out that there are also other markets that Xbox has tapped into. They emphasized heavily on the biggest market at the time, which was Steam, compared to theirs, and were able to introduce their games and their titles here. So now that these games and these titles have already been introduced here, and yes, they did sell well, so did PlayStation's, they now have a easier crossover, which is their own Xbox ecosystem, to games like Game Pass. PlayStation has a bigger mountain to cross because they want to expect, or they now expect, that the PC gamer should go buy a PlayStation console, which is likely an abomination for a good number of PC players. But on the other hand, Xbox is like, you don't have to buy a console. If you notice, the business expanded while we were all sitting here on podcasts and arguing about the name of the Xbox Ally X or the Rogue Ally X. Because what Xbox did before it even bothered launching any hardware to actually commemorate this was it got itself into those ecosystems with the Xbox. Everything is an Xbox ad and campaign. So if you think that Xbox is no longer trying to grow their market anymore, it's simply because you are still sitting in that place where you can only see what's in front of you. The moment you actually get out of that perspective, you're going to see something that's very interesting. And you know what almost always happens? What almost always happens is it's always at the end that the PlayStation fanboys who choose not to see what's outside usually get the realization that something is going on. For instance, you all are acting like you've forgotten quickly when Xbox's chief or Microsoft's chief came out and said that they had clocked almost $5 billion in Game Pass revenue for the very first time. That $5 billion number was happening while all of you were saying, or at least claiming, maybe not you, FaceBKNY, maybe others were saying that Xbox was pretty much backing away from the emphasis on Game Pass. Christopher Drink said that, and many people amplified it. Remember when they said, oh, Game Pass had flatlined and there was no longer any growth? Yet, those of us who were looking at the numbers that leaked within the Activision Blizzard King and the announcement from Sarah Bond saw that there was a trend of at least 1 million users every year growing on the platform. Even with the price increases, or even without the price increase, there were already subscribers that were actually jumping into the ecosystem. Then the Xbox bosses, they said that their subscriptions on PC had grown by 30%. And many of you refused to actually see how the market was expanding. All of this was here in front of you. But now that the Xbox Ally X is coming out, you only want to go ahead and pull everything to fit inside your worldview. But that's not how it works. What you're going to see is you're going to wake up in the next 5 years and find out that PlayStation is irrelevant when right now the signs are in front of you. The reason PlayStation is going to be irrelevant is because the gaming industry is expensive and Xbox has more money to spend on the gaming industry than them. Do you notice all the people who were yelling Xbox is no longer doing marketing have shut up because Xbox threw its weight behind the marketing of this Xbox Ally X device and will throw its weight behind marketing on other fronts as well? You do understand what's going on, right? Because their spend is bigger than PlayStation. The whole popularity contest is about to fizzle out. Why? As the generations change between my generation and your generation in the gaming scene, the young people are going to be looking for value proposition, and Xbox is already positioned waiting for them. As PlayStation keeps up the so-called fake premium model, it's going to lose because even though you go ahead and follow the line of PlayStation, you're still likely going to be playing Xbox games on there. So they're winning on PlayStation and they're winning on Xbox, and they're going to win on the general market front as they are taking all the steps to ensure that they are pursuing a bigger market that is not this traditional console market that's already set in their ways. So again, I hope you would revise that thinking, and I hope most people who are actually in the same place would revise that thinking to actually go ahead and assess properly what it is Xbox is doing. You don't have to be a fan of Xbox to actually know what they're doing. You can just simply go ahead and find out and know what they're doing. That's all you have to do. I'm not saying you should affirm that what they're doing is right or wrong or better. I'm just saying you should know. As to whether it's right or wrong or better, that's a matter of time basically telling if that's actually going to be the case. However, they're not going to sleep. They are positioning themselves, which has been their strongest suit all this while. Thank you for watching the video. Talk to me in the comment section. Peace out.